Hey guys, it's Matt. I just wanted to do another video here today. This one's going to be a little bit more of an academic, scholarly, educational video, leading into what I'm going to be doing for the next probably week. Got some time coming up with the long weekend. Going to be doing a lot more recording, hopefully, and putting out some more stuff based around this kind of topic next week. That being Christianity, specifically kind of evangelicalism versus fundamentalism. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm sure you've all heard the term evangelicals and fundamentalists kind of bandied about when describing the more extreme Christian denominations and groups. But what are they? A lot of people I know who even mention these things don't really understand what they are and what the difference is and how we define it. That's what I kind of want to do today, is explain the basics of evangelicalism and by extension fundamentalism, how they're this similar, what the differences are, and then talk a little bit about why people shouldn't necessarily use them interchangeably. But before we get to all that, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload new content. I'm just getting started here. It's going to be a heck of a ride. I'd love for you guys to join me on it. And with that out of the way, let's come to truth. Christian evangelicals and Christian fundamentalists are often talked about in similar ways, and a lot of times are used interchangeably. But Matt, I hear you saying, aren't they the same thing? Yes and no. It is kind of a square and triangle relationship between evangelicals and fundamentalism, in that all fundamentalists are evangelicals, but not all evangelicals are fundamentalist. And so let's start kind of with a 20,000 foot view, and then narrow down in on what we can identify as the differences between these two groups. So the major characteristics of evangelicalism is biblicism, conversionism, cruciacentrism, got it, and activism. Now, biblicism is defined as a high regard for and obedience to the Bible as the ultimate authority. So for these groups, the Bible is the primary, ultimate, and final authority on religious doctrine as God's revelation to humanity. Conversionism is the belief that lives need to be transformed through a born-again experience and a lifelong process of following Jesus. This is where we get the term born-again Christian. If somebody defines themselves as a born-again Christian, they're an evangelical. Cruciacentrism, got it that time, had to slow down. Cruciacentrism is a stress on the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross, making possible redemption for humanity. Basically, focus on the cross and Jesus' crucifixion and death as the main vessel for salvation. The last defining characteristic of evangelicalism is activism, which a lot of evangelical groups define as the expression and demonstration of the gospel in missionary and social reform efforts. On their surface, none of these beliefs are bad in themselves. None of these are intrinsically bad. The problem comes when you see these groups take these beliefs and run them down the road as far as they can go to the extreme lengths. There is, in the extremism form, no room for question, no room for error, no room for change. Sorry for the change of camera angle. I dropped the camera and it wouldn't go back quite right. So moving on, in my research into what this is, to kind of get a solid definition, a lot of other things kept popping up but weren't necessarily defined as the central tenets of evangelicalism. A lot of denominations believe in the inerrancy of the Bible. That's not left into all of the groups and denominations, but a lot of people hold that to be true. They also believe in a literal second coming of Jesus, a rapture, and the end times. And this we'll get into a little bit more later when we talk about the extremist and the dangerous part of these beliefs. They also believe in sexual purity and saving yourself from marriage, and really push purity culture. A lot of times they really don't accept or believe in any kind of spectrum with regards to sexuality or gender, which we all, not all, but a majority of people now accept as truth. A lot of these churches also teach intelligent design, if not young earth creationism, and by extension, flat earth. While in something else I discovered during research, and is not published on any of their any sites or taught as a belief, but through looking at groups and message boards, they also teach this: the nature of the world is evil, and the enemy is everywhere around you trying to corrupt you, and it's everyone against you. And they teach you that the way to guard yourself against the enemy, being Satan, is to put emphasis on weekly, if not daily, reading of the Bible and multi-week attendance at church, really highly encouraging these behaviors that can be identified as indoctrination. This also leads into a large group of these people having a massive simultaneous martyrdom and superiority complex, where they think they're better than you, but also that you're attacking them, and they're just getting martyred for their beliefs. So let's lead in now to a little bit of what is the difference between evangelicalism and fundamentalist Christians. Really, the main difference, the only universal difference between all of them, is their level of certainty that both their religion and the Bible are 100% correct. There's a much broader spectrum of evangelicalism in their ability to interpret the Bible in relation to the world, where fundamentalism holds the strictest interpretation and literal interpretation of the Bible and religious traditions and biblical roles. A lot of what you'll see with this, you can tell someone is a fundamentalist if they're anti-woman, anti-female voting, anti-women's rights, trans rights, gay rights, very outspoken about biblical teachings and beliefs. That tends to be where we get into the fundamentalist side of things. Which brings us to the most pressing question, which you might have been able to kind of gather a little bit, is why is fundamentalism dangerous? Why are fundamentalist Christians dangerous people? And by definition, they aren't. That's the problem. You see it all the time. They're not that bad. Why can't you just leave them alone? It's not like they're killing anyone. And here's the thing where I struggle with it, is I want people to be able to believe whatever crazy thing they want. If you think that the Bible is real and there's actually flat earth and Noah's real and there was a worldwide flood, go for it. You can believe whatever you want, but you cannot be preaching or bringing harm to anyone else. And that is where fundamentalism falls. They actively crusade to spread ideas and institute beliefs that cause real harm and real damage to people. They spread hateful and repressive messages online and in church. They're the people who are pushing for prayers in schools. They fight tooth and nail against any and all progress and recognition for the LGBTQ or GRSM communities. People are finding their existence incompatible with these teachings that they're being told that God, the supreme deity, is telling them how to live their life. And rather than live with the shame and the guilt that comes along with these teachings, they are literally killing themselves. There is a rash of teen suicide, especially rampant in trans communities and LGBTQ, GRSM communities. These people are the same people who want wives to submit to their husbands. These are people who advocate for marital rape and say that it's okay because God said so. These people think the way to preserve their morality is to set up walls and limits to what is good and what can be acceptable. But by doing so, they lose out on the central message of the gospel. According to the Bible, Jesus' work was not constrained by the religious laws of the time. He did good regardless of when he was supposed to, or who he was supposed to help, or who was dirty. He helped everyone. He brought peace and love to everyone. Not just some people, not people who the society determined were good. All people. These people, these fundamentalists, have lost sight of the real truth in their holy book and substituted rules and constraints for mercy and call it love. You cannot argue with a fundamentalist. Once they have indoctrinated themselves past the point of logic thought, any appeal to logic or evidence is only considered the work of the devil. You are evil, and they have taught themselves or been taught that any doubt or challenge is against God's will. That any doubt that they have in their mind, they have to subdue that because that's not what God said. And our only hope for the future is to help people to see the way before they get to that point. We have to respond to these people who are bringing numbers into their congregation with passion and the appearance of compassion, and then feed them poison with a smile. But we have to get these people to know the truth before they are so lost that they cannot be helped, before they start preaching hate or killing themselves. So guys, this is certainly not the last time I will talk about this. I have a lot of other things coming out that are in the works right now having to do with this, and so I really just wanted to kind of give a breakdown of this kind of topic and why I am going to be doing the things that I'm doing. But that being said, if you liked what you saw here today and thought it was interesting, please hit the subscribe button, even if you never watch another video. It really helps the channel grow and get the message out to more people, and gets more people's eyes on what I'm doing here. Another way that you can support the show is to go to the Patreon. Link is down in the description. You can support me for as little as $1 a week, and every little bit helps and will be going back into the show to buy me cool things like a better camera, a set, new software, other things just to help make the channel better. Also, if you go ahead and subscribe to our channel and join the Patreon, I'll be putting up a title card at the end with a list of all the Patreons on it. Anyways, guys, I had a blast making this video for you today, and I will see you the next time we come to truth. See ya.